Hey, people from the internet, welcome back to the sprue. Today we're going to take a look at the last little bit of stash ads that I got for 2024. It's been a little while since I've done one of these, but I did show what I brought home from the massive swap meet back in November, and between then and now, there hasn't really been a lot of stuff coming into the studio, but I did get a few things for Christmas and some stuff that I bought in between. So we can take a quick little look at what I brought in. Alright, so let's start off with a couple of things that aren't directly model related, but they're going to be used for modeling things. So first off, a present from the lovely Mrs. The Sprue. I got a bottle of resin. So this is the preferred stuff that I've been using lately. This is the brand that is recommended by Chris Bell over at Scale Speed Garage. So this is the Tech Fast ABS-like resin. He seems to prefer the navy gray. I go with the creamy just because I'm weird like that. So that was a very welcome gift. Lots of model parts are going to be printed with this little guy here. And the next one is something that kind of has been making the rounds on the internet. I don't know where or which brands and stores and stuff that you would be able to find it in the US, but here in Canada, this is sold at Canadian Tire, which is... I can't really explain what Canadian Tire is if you don't know what it is. It's a difficult concept to wrap your brain around. But so this is a little mini toolbox. The lid does open up, and if I can get it in view, see it's branded Mastercraft, which is the house brand of Canadian Tire. One thing that I'm not entirely a fan of is this lid here doesn't have any kind of stops on it, so it'll just go until it can't anymore, unless you have it leaned up against something. But I might be able to figure out something for that. And it has a couple of drawers. And unfortunately, to me, extra thin bottles don't fit in there, which, you know, would make a great spot for putting them. But I'm sure I'll end up finding some uses for this little guy. Looking forward to that. Also from the lovely Mrs. Sprue. And so some kits that have come in the intervening times. I managed to get myself a hold of one of these guys. So the 72 F350 4x4 Wrecker from Mobius, newly arrived. I don't know how widespread it is available in hobby shops yet, but if you get stuff online, or like I did, directly through the Model King, Dave Burkett, you might have got your hands on one of these already. What interesting to me about this one is that this is a giant box. This is like 1.5 times the height of a regular box. There's a lot of junk in here that they had to fit in that particular trunk. And just because I have some ideas for how I want to build them, I picked up another one of these. This is the Polar Lights 1:1000 scale USS Grissom and the Klingon Bird of Prey. If you know your Star Trek lore, for the Wrath of Khan, which is what this scene is from, this ship was originally intended to be a Romulan vessel that crew stole, but we'll not get into that here. Another semi-Christmas gift that I kind of bought myself and also came from Mrs. The Sprue is, oh geez, try to get this in. So this is the AMT Kenworth Aerodyne cab over. This represents a configuration that was available when this kit was originally tooled back up in the late 70s, but there is a feller that has drawn up a conversion that I plan to buy and print that replaces this portion of the cab down here. So it's a separate piece in the kit under the door, and it wraps around to the front. That updates it to the newer style with the square headlights and is closer to what was available, if not directly from the dealerships. Kenworth would build you these long after they stopped selling them to the general public, but if you made a large enough order, they would build you a whole bunch of them. And so following off of the Christmas gifts, I managed to get myself a hold of one of these. So this, for those not in the know, I'll try to explain the significance of what this is. So this is the AMT 1:537 scale Enterprise originally from the motion picture. So this is a new tool in 1979 for the tie-in with the movie. So this actually came out between the motion picture and the Wrath of Khan. And this features a 45-year-old lighting kit, which is quite interesting. But in the community, this kit is referred to as a smoothie. So there's a lot of extra detail that was added to subsequent reissues of this kit that aren't exactly the most accurate or flattering for this ship. And if you can get your hands on a smoothie version like this, it saves you a whole heck of a lot of effort for accurizing this thing. So at some point in time, I may do a comparison video between this and what the reissues have become. If that's something that might interest you folks, let me know. I'm not sure when I'll be able to get to it, but I'll keep it in mind. And so, as part of the Christmas gift for the little Spruelings, Mrs. the Sprue and I took them on a little trip to a neighboring city. I say neighboring, it was in another province and it was a 4-hour drive to get there, but along the way I stopped at a couple of places that also sold model kits. So one of them was the Atlantic Canada Aviation Museum, which is adjacent to the Halifax International Airport. And they have a hobby shop in their gift store that got started because they got donated a large collection. So they just kept up with selling kits. So what I picked up from there, just shuffle some things around for a moment. I managed to get, this was sealed when I got it, but I've since opened it up to look inside. So this is the Cutaway Enterprise. What's significant with this for me is that this is also in 1:537 scale, which is the same scale as the Enterprise refit that I just showed. And all the parts are here to be able to build this as a solid ship. Like it's going to take a lot of work, and it's going to require some aftermarket parts to make it all jive together. But this was a sealed kit originally from 1995 to coincide with one of the anniversaries of the Star Trek franchise. So I was really happy to get my hands on this. And then also they had hanging from the ceiling in the gift shop, they had a bunch of built starships, and I missed out on getting 2 of them, but I did manage to come home with this. So somebody built this here, USS Excelsior model. So this is from the original tooling back in the late 90s. They did an okay job with it, but I mean, I'm still going to rip it apart and paint it the way that I want to. And the biggest boo-boo with this, in my view, is that, like I said, these were hanging from the ceiling, and the builder, they went and put in a lovely screw right here on the back of the secondary hull to hang the string from. So that screw is going to have to get removed and the hole filled in. And so yeah, there's some aftermarket parts that are available for this. I have files for some stuff to be able to print things for it. And there's a few other bits and bobs that I want to do just to make some different excelsiors. In my view, when these ships were new in the Star Trek universe, the first batch of them that came out of the shipyards, they weren't all identical, so there's a little bit of variation between them. So I want to build a few that have some different variations. So that's what I'd like to do with those ones. And lastly, the hotel that we were staying at when we were in Halifax, in the same plaza that it was in, there's like a little strip mall plaza or whatever. But there was a hobby shop there, which is kind of dangerous when you send a model builder to another town and they're staying in a hotel that is adjacent to a hobby shop. You can just imagine the kind of shenanigans one can get into. But I did limit myself, and I picked up this, which is something that when I first saw that it was announced, it's like, oh, that's really cool. I got to get one of these. So this is the Academy Hyundai Porter, which is a little box truck that is sold through most of the world, just not here in North America. So this is a little itty bitty truck with a box. It has building options to build a Porter and a Porter 2. There's some differences, like the headlights are different and the front bumper is a little bit different. So there's a couple of different building variations. But my thought for this one, if I'm not going to end up just building it straight as a box truck with some kind of livery on it, is that Aoshima has a whole bunch of similar trucks that have different working bodies on them, like an arcade and food trucks and stuff like that. And it might be interesting to combine the two to make a Hyundai Porter that's, a ramen truck or something like that. So yeah. So that's what managed to find its way home with me here at the end of 2024. Mrs. The Sprue also ordered some more kits for me that were supposed to arrive by Christmas, but unfortunately, due to circumstances outside of our control, they haven't got here yet. So although technically they are stash ads for 2024, like I said, because they haven't shown up yet, when they get here, I may do a little video if I've got anything else to go with them. But so that's all that we've got. Thanks for stopping by, and we'll see you next time.